Boys, look at all these goodies we got for old skid mark here. So, unfortunately, we can't keep it open headers for the time being because I want to drive it around town. Originally, we left it open header because of Cletus and Cars. We were going to run it open header for Indianapolis and Bradenton and then put an exhaust on it, but because that's postponed, go ahead and put exhaust on it. So I literally, I kid you not, went on Amazon, looked for the cheapest single chamber muffler I could find. And this is what I came up with. This is by Total Flow, and it's 3-inch because we're going to do a 3-inch pipe on skid here. And I guess it's a dual chamber, I think. Yeah, so you can see the 2 little marks right there. So dual chamber muffler, just to quiet it down a little bit to keep the harshness. And also inside of the cab, it's brutal inside the cab. So we want to get that quieted down. Of course, you got 2 because you're going to have 2 separate pipes here. But that's not really the coolest part because nobody wants to make the truck quieter. This is the cool part. So, as you can see, it's a glow shift gauge. Now, skid running on nitrous really needs a wideband so we can tell what the air-fuel ratio is on it to make sure that I don't blow it up. Also, for tuning purposes, and my tuner wanted me to get one in, there we go, got you a wideband. So, what we're going to do, and we've got another gauge coming, it's on the way. We're going to put this wideband, and the other gauge is coming is oil pressure. The one you guys have pointed out, the one on the cluster is busted, and also that one can tend to be a little bit inaccurate. So I wanted to get a good gauge on the pillar so that way we can tell the actual true oil pressure. And how we're going to do that is Glow Shift has a dual pillar pod for these trucks. And if you're not familiar, and I'm sure you've seen them on trucks, you literally pop them in to the A-pillar just like that. Boom. Wideband, oil pressure, probably what we're going to do. And they make it so easy. They send, I was just glancing over some of this stuff before we started filming. They send the fasteners, they send instructions. This wideband kit, I mean, they got this thing hooked up. They got all the wiring in here. There's the actual gauge. I'll take a look at this thing. This thing's pretty sweet. Hold on. It's Austin proof. So there's the actual gauge, a little dusty. That's what's going to be sitting inside of that pillar pod. And then inside of here is probably the box that reads the, yeah, there it is. There's a little box that's going to plug into the O2 sensor and actually read and correlate it to the screen on the gauge. So like I said, I've got a oil pressure gauge coming, glow shift as well. And what we're going to do for that, I had a piece. I know I had a piece. How we're going to do that is where they have where they have it capped on the oil pan for the oil cooler. You can add an oil cooler onto a 5.3. There's our adapter plate. And what we're going to do is they literally send an 1/8 inch sensor, and that's what that hole is. So when I put this in here, I can screw that right in there, run the line up to the pillar, easy peasy. So this is not going to be a hard deal. Now the reason that the mufflers are done in conjunction with these gauges, I've got to have an O2 bung welded in so I can read the wideband, because that's where it's like screws in like an O2 sensor. It's basically an O2 sensor. And then it runs up to the gauge. So that's why I went ahead and got mufflers, because we got to get the exhaust done. Hopefully going to get it done this week. At a minimum, we're going to get the gauges in there today and get them lit up and stuff like that. The wideband just may not read, may just be a later thing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I wish I had another splice that I could wire it into a fuse instead of going right to the battery.
An ashtray.
Do not lose that. There is hardly any Cateyes that have that original lift. Cateyes come with one of these. You're never going to find a used one with it, I guarantee you. Alrighty, so what I've done to save the boringness is I've went ahead and wired it up. So let me get the paperwork and show you guys how they want you to do it. So on your harness, you've got a yellow, red, black, and orange. Yellow is constant 12 volts. So what I did is I'm running 2 gauges, so I put 2 wires in there, but I only got the one to do right now. I went directly to the battery for constant power on the yellow. The red is an ignition switched source. So what I did is, inside of this fuse box is literally an ignition switch, and it doesn't activate till the ignition turns on. I did that, got a fuse tap, and put the fuse tap in there, and did that for red. Black is vehicle ground. Found a nut underneath below the steering column for ground. Put that on there. Orange is headlight switch. That's the dim it for headlight. I haven't wired that up yet. I've just wired power, ground, and stuff like that. So now, what you do is, this right here is my harness wired in. There's our plug. It's got labeled on the box, power. Put that in the power, okay? Now, I've got our wiring harness plugged into the gauge, and here is our gauge plug. It says gauge right there. Plug her into the gauge. Now, when you go to turn on ignition, you should get a gauge. And there you go. We got a gauge. Of course, we got no sensor right now, so it's not going to show anything. Cool thing about glow shift is, if you do the 10 color, you get 10 different colors you get to choose from. So whatever color you want, you got it. I like blue. So, oh, there we go. So, oh, is it changing on me? Yeah, it is. That's cool. So, what I'm going to do now is tidy this up, run the wire. I've got this panel loose. I'm going to set this up here for now and run the gauge wire. And I think I'm going to store the control boxes for both the gauges inside of this panel. Tuck all my wiring away nice and neat. And go ahead and try to run my wire behind the pillar right here, which that just comes apart like that, really easy. Run my wires down behind there, neaten it up. And what I got to do, is, of course, this is going to be kind of a 2-day video. Once I get that run, I'll show you guys. I'll have to wait for the next gauge to put in and finish it up. Alrighty guys, so it's a different day and we got the oil pressure gauge in. So it's basically repeat the process like I wired up the wideband. The only difference is instead of having a box where the wideband had a box that you plug the O2 sensor in, the power, then run a wire to the gauge. Oil pressure is completely different. You actually run the sensor wires and the power wires to the gauge. So there's no box, it's just 2 wires that run up. I'm not going to go in depth into showing how I did the separate oil pressure on this truck, because the video I want it to be about the gauges. So you see they're off. Now when I turn the ignition on, I get both of the gauges here. And of course, when you start it, you get your oil pressure there. We've got that milling high pressure oil pump in here, so she idles with a good bit of oil pressure. And we haven't got the wideband flowing in just yet, so it's not reading, but if you watch here, and the same thing goes for the oil pressure. You can change these to whatever colors you want. And it's got that mode which goes through all the different colors and stuff like that. I like the blue the best. So all in all, Glow Shift makes it really easy to give you everything you need to do it. The instructions are as clean cut as it can get. Ta-da! You see they got these clips that they give you. You just drill a hole through here. And then put your clips in to hold this mount on here. And there's even, if you don't want to do the pillar, there's even like a universal mount that comes with each gauge that you can put on the dash, which eventually somewhere, probably right here beside it, I'm going to do a trans temp gauge so I can monitor temperatures on that. So we have got the, oh my lord, there's oil on the lens. Really easy install. I'm not sponsored by Glow Shift, but they make good products. It seems like quality, and I have no doubt that they will last for as long as we need them to here inside of the truck. So I hope you found the video informative. Don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching. Take care. Have a great day.